In this video, we're going to take a look at how to mask images using Google Slides. So there's two different ways that I'm aware of that you can mask slides, and this is what we're going to do. The first thing we're going to do is explore image search using the Explorer. And then from there, we're going to find an image and mask it using the mask image tool built into Google Slides. We'll talk about some of the pros and cons. And then we'll also talk about masking images using an add-on called AddPicto. So let's get started. So the first thing is that when you have a Google Slide, you'll notice that there's a little button here that says Explore. When you click on it, it will give you some examples of different layouts you can use based upon the content on your slide. But we don't want to do that. We want to search for images. So at the very top here, it says search your docs and the web. I'm going to do a simple search for, let's say, cats. And as a default, it's going to search the web. But what you want to do is click on images, and you will find images of cats. Or if you're more of a dog person, then you can search for dogs, whichever one. So once you have found an image that you like, let's find a cute one, like that one. You could click on it, and you'll see it. It'll tell you where the image is from. I'm just going to insert it. And there it is. Another way is just to click and drag over. And you'll also then bring the image that way as well. So there's two different ways. So once you have the image, you want to scale the image down to the size that you want. And once you're happy with that size, you want to make sure to click on the crop image. But then right next to it, you see this little chevron pointing downwards. And if you hover over it, you'll see the words mask image. So when you click on mask image, you'll see all of these various shapes. You may or may not be familiar with them. These are the common shapes that are offered by Google Slides. And now if you select one of these shapes, let's say a circle, you will then mask that image into that shape. So you will notice that this isn't quite a circle. It's actually more of a oval. So how do you actually make this into a perfect circle? Well, there's actually two different ways of doing that. So the first way is, go up here and let's select a different doggo image. Ooh, yeah, let's see, that guy. So I'm going to drag and drop again to get the image. So the first thing you want to do is you want to either A, make this into a perfect square. And to do that, you could right click, format options, and make sure that these are the same width and height. So I'm just going to, for simplicity's sake, I'm going to make this 5'5". And now this is a perfect circle. And now when I again hover over the image mask, select the drop down, and then select the circle, now it will be at a perfect circle. Now I could scale this size down and up, so forth, and I've got a perfect circle. Now in this case, can you do the same thing? Well, let's try. So right now, this is at about 4.86 inches by 3.24. Let's just make these both into 4. If I change this to 4, change this to 4, what happened? Essentially what it did is it resized not just the shape, but it also resized the image. So we don't want that. So I'm gonna click on Command Z for Mac, Control Z for I believe PC to undo that. And now we can double click on this and you'll see that there's this little highlight, which indicates that you could change the mask image. So if I shrink this down, you'll notice that the image itself stays the same. It's the mask that changes. And now this is the difficult part. I can try to make sure this is sized correctly, or you could type in the size here, 3. And now when I click anywhere outside of that, now I got that perfect circle. You can say like, but I want the puppy in the circle. Well, you have to double click on it to edit it. Select the outside and move the image over so that it fits into that circle. And there you go. So that's how you mask an image. Now you may be asking yourself, that's great. How do you then replace this image? Well, let's give it a try. So I'm going to again click on Explore, search for cats this time. Go to image, and I'm going to click and drag into, nope, I can't drag it in there. Okay, so I'm going to click on that, and then click on Replace Image. I'm going to replace image, search the web. Now I'm going to search cats. And there it is. Now if I click on one of these, it gives me an option to replace. And click on replace. And it's, there we go, replace. So those are different ways of us using the built-in image search in Google Slides, as well as masking them. Now you can say like, that's great, but what if you wanted to change the mask? Well, again, you can select the mask image. Again, click on the little mask image, select the shape. This time let's try to do the triangle. That was pretty easy. So let's see what other options you have. You'll see that you have all of these different options here. You can see this is, I believe, database icon. You could have this square icon. And you also have arrows. That's all good and fine. You have these callouts. It's kind of neat. And then you also have these equations where some work, like the multiply symbol, and some do not, like these brackets. Oh, I guess they do work. That's nice. Yeah, it does some weird stuff. So now you're going to be asking yourself, like, that's really neat. But what if you wanted a different shape? What if you wanted a shape that is not listed here? What do you do then? Well, you're out of luck. Essentially, these are only the shapes that you can select from. And if there's any other shape that you wanted to mask, use as a mask, you can't do that. So that's some of the cons. So again, some of the pros are it's built in, so you don't have to worry about it. It's pretty darn fast once you have this mask. Some of the other cons is that when you try to size this thing, you have to be very careful about making sure that the size that you're resizing is done on the mask versus the image and vice versa. Otherwise, you get that weird effect of stretching the image itself out. So those are some of the pros and cons. So let's look at a different way of doing that. So there is an add-on called AddPicto. And the way you get that is by clicking on add-ons, click get add-ons, and then search for AddPicto. There we go, AddPicto. And this is the add-on. So once you install that add-on, you just click here to install. Since I already got it installed, I could just click on add-on and go to AddPicto mask image and launch. And so an add-on is essentially a third party that has created something to enhance your Google Slides. So you'll see here that there's multiple shapes that are numbers, shapes that are basic. Now you'll notice here that this also has a circle. I'm going to insert that circle here. It'll take a minute to insert that in. Okay, so we have this circle. Let's do a comparison, shall we? So we said that we could explore, and then we could do a search for, let's say, attached shape or art. Okay, I'm going to select this guy. That looks interesting enough. Click on insert. Now, again, if I wanted to mask this into a circle, I have to first select the circle. But again, the shape is odd, so then I have to double click. And to get it perfect, I need to go and try to resize this. So now that's not quite right. So I'm going to right click to go to format options. Now I have the exact numbers. Then double click and change these into the same size. Perfect. Now we have a perfect circle. So you could say, well, what's the difference between the circle that a masked image of a circle made using the mask image feature built in versus this little add-on thing that allowed us to do the exact same thing? What's the difference? Well, so let's try something different. So let's try to replace this image from my computer. And I'm going to click on this image that I've already downloaded. It's a transparent pane. So essentially what a transparent pane means is that this image of the bird, underneath there's nothing there. So in order for you to see that, you probably change the background. The way I got that is to right click on the slide itself And here you can see change background. And I'm just going to change the color. I'm going to change it to, oh, I don't know, like this orange. Ooh, that's bright, isn't it? Let's change this to something a little milder, like this gray. And once I'm happy with it, click on done. You can see here, this image is masked in a circle, but because the background color is transparent, you can see right through it. So is there any options we can do to make that show? Well, I don't think we can. There's nothing here that allows us to border color. Okay, so we got a border color. That's nice. But what about if we actually wanted to have a fill color? Is there any way here? I don't think there is. Format image, recoloring. That's not quite right, because essentially that's going to recolor the actual image, but we want to add a background color. So there really isn't a way. So let's try it with this one. This again, it was created using AddPicto. I could click on the little chevron here and then click on upload image. And then once I do that, it gives me an option to choose image file. Then I'm going to select the exact same image that I had on my desktop. There it is. Click open. And you can see that in this one, the background color is orange. That's because this background color can be selected by me. There you go. Whatever color you want. You can even change the opacity. Opacity means how transparent the color is. So if I did 0, then it's completely transparent. But if I did 10, it's 10% transparent. So let's do 10%. Now, once I'm happy with that, I could insert it. And what that does is, if I have this mask image that I've already selected, inserted, and select that and click on insert, it will replace it. If I have nothing selected and I click on insert, it will just insert a new version of that. Like you saw. So you'll notice here, I don't know if that's too subtle. Let's make that a little brighter. Let's make this 50%. That looks a little better. And then I'm going to, again, having that selected, click on insert. And now you can see it's a little better. So you can see now that the background color is the blue and it's transparent. So that's one difference. That's kind of neat. Let's do another one. I'm going to select all of these and delete. I'm going to again click on explore. Do a signal for cats. Found the image. Again, click and drag. Okay, close that. There we go. And then I'm going to use shapes. And this time I'm going to choose this shape here. Again, we have to square it out so that it's a perfect shape. To select, right click, format options, double click, and then make sure these are the same size. Let's do 6 and 6. Oh, we can't do that because again, it's going beyond the image, so we can't do that. So we're going to do 5, so 5, 5, that looks good. And now we're going to unclick on it, and now we got this shape. It's still not quite centered, the image isn't centered, so we have to now double click and resize the image to fit. There we go, that's a little better. So now we have our first image using the image mask that's built into Google. Now let's use this little AddPicto plugin. So we happen to have the exact same shape here, but some of the other neat things is they have other options for that shape. So you could just have that, or you could have something like this, or you could have something like this. But actually, this is kind of neat. You know what? Let's keep it exactly the same. So this is the exact same thing. As you can see here, you could also search unsplash images. I'm going to search for cats, and I'm going to select this little guy, and I'm going to insert it. Okay, so now we have a side-by-side of a cat image being masked into the exact same shape. So you can now ask, well, what's the difference between the two? They look exactly the same. Well, let's see. Let's see if we can try to rotate this thing around. So that's to reset it. If we want that, we want to rotate. So we can say format, slide, arrange. Here we go, rotate. So let's rotate this thing clockwise by 90 degrees. Okay, so we've rotated the shape, but it also rotated the image. That's not what I want. What if I just want to rotate the shape? Let's double click on it. Maybe arrange. Nope, it won't give me the option to rotate. So it looks like in order for us to rotate the shape, we really can't. I guess one workaround would be to insert the image, rotate the image, mask. You know what? Let me just show you. So in order to do this using built-in mask image from slides out of the video search for the thing that I want. Yep, let's just make sure I select the same image. Yep, that's the one I wanted. Insert. So the way I would have to do it is first I would have to rotate this image counterclockwise. Close this for now. And then select it, do image mask, do that shape. And then again, I need to right click, do format image, and then double click on that, change the size to be the same. There we go. And now we could say arrange, rotate, and then rotate clockwise. That's not what we wanted. I screw up. Undo it. So maybe I want to rotate this thing clockwise. Let's rotate this thing clockwise. Sorry, clockwise. Let's try this again, clockwise. And mask it. Okay. Double click on it. Change the width and height to be the same. Okay. Okay, and then rotate it. Yeah, it's not working. It won't let me rotate the shape and but keep the image the same. As you saw, I've tried multiple ways and it just doesn't allow me to do that. That sucks. So let's try AddPicto. So as you can see, I have this little mask image using AddPicto. I've got everything selected. Now I could flip it horizontally, flip it vertically. I could rotate it in 90-degree increments. That looks great. And then I'm going to have this selected and click on Insert Picto. And after a little bit, it's going to refresh. And there it is. So now I'm able to create this shape with this corner in the lower left-hand corner. But as you can see, with the Google image mask, it just doesn't allow me to do that. It's actually just fixed in the single shape. And there's no way for me to change this anyway. So that means that for this shape, this corner will always be pointing the upper right-hand side. And if I want this corner to be pointing any other direction, it also rotates the image that's inside of it. That's not fun. And so the other thing is that you notice that in order to actually get this thing to be perfect, I had to constantly resize things, which is also not fun. And the other thing is that for AddPicto, it actually allows you to just quickly search for images that you like. And once you're happy, you could then just click on Insert Picto to update. There you go. So, so those are the two different options. Again, you have the option of using the built-in image mask using that's built into Google Slides. And again, you want to just select on any image, click on the image mask, and select the shapes. Make sure to be aware to make sure that everything is perfectly scaled so that you have what you want and not have things stretched out. The other option is to use AddPicto. Hopefully this video was helpful. Have a great day.